There are moments in your life when something feels off, a tone, a smile, a silence that lingers too long. You can't explain it, but your body knows before your mind does. Someone near you isn't what they pretend to be, and the danger isn't loud. It's quiet, invisible, wrapped in kindness. That's why you miss it. That's why it slips through your guard. Jung warned us about this subtle threat. Not the obvious cruelty, but the soft distortion. The ones who blend in. The ones who appear safe. The ones who mirror your hopes while hiding their hunger. They don't show their true face. They show the mask they think you'll accept. And if you can't read the shadow beneath it, you'll hand them your energy without noticing. So today we're pulling the masks off. 6 patterns, 6 personas, 6 ways people erode you quietly. They don't wound your skin, they wound your clarity. And unless you stay awake, you'll confuse danger for compassion. Let yourself breathe for a second, then look again. You'll see what you've been sensing all along. The first mask, the perpetual sufferer, the one whose life is always unfair, always heavy, always someone else's fault. They look fragile. You want to help. You want to lift them. But under that helplessness lives something sharper, something that knows your empathy is a doorway. And once they step through, they never leave without taking more than they give. Jung saw the truth. Victimhood becomes power when responsibility is rejected. These people use pain as currency. You think you're helping them heal, but you're only carrying their shadow. Notice the guilt that rises when you pull back. That guilt isn't yours. It's the hook they planted, the distortion they depend on. Step away. See what shifts. Second mask, the agreeable reflection. They match your words, your humor, your dreams. They feel perfect because they act like you. But that's the illusion. There's nothing behind the mimicry. No core, no truth. Just a shifting shape built to earn your approval. You're not bonding with them. You're bonding with your own desires, echoed back at you. Jung called this the persona trap. When someone becomes a mask instead of a self, you're left dancing with a ghost. They stay as long as admiration flows. Withdraw it, and they vanish or turn cold. Loyalty means nothing to them. Image means everything, and trusting them is like trying to hold smoke in your hands. Pause, feel your breath, let the tension settle. Because the next mask is quieter, softer, harder to spot. It's the helper who isn't helping, the one who nods with kindness, then plants doubt like a seed. They won't challenge you directly. They'll just tilt your confidence, one whispered suggestion at a time. This is the passive enabler. They wrap fear in concern. They wrap insecurity in logic. They shrink your dreams by sounding reasonable. Jung understood this shadow well. It's the darkness of someone who fears your growth because your growth would leave them behind. So they smile while cutting your wings softly. You don't lose trust in one moment. You lose it slowly, thought by thought, choice by choice, until your voice sounds weaker in your own head. That's the real danger, not their words, but how quietly they replace your instincts with theirs. And if you're not conscious, you'll adopt their limits as truth. Take a breath, loosen your chest. Now we go deeper, because the next mask doesn't want to guide you. It wants to compete with you while pretending not to. The friend who claps too late. The supporter whose eyes tighten when you rise. You've felt this before. This is the secret competitor. They don't hate your success. They resent what it reveals in them. Every win you have pulls at their hidden wounds, so they minimize it, redirect it, outshine it. They copy your ideas and pretend they arrived first. They play loyal while treating you like a rival in their quiet inner war. Jung said the root of this pattern is deep inferiority, unseen, unclaimed, undigested. They don't want to grow, so they cling to comparison. They'll smile at your victories, but relief washes over them only when you fall. You feel it. You've always felt it. That subtle ache in the room when you're doing well. Reset your breathing. Let your awareness rise. Because the final two masks are the most deceptive. They look wise. They look deep. They look healed. And that's what makes them dangerous. They don't control through force. They control through guidance. Mask 4, the spiritual superior. They speak in soft tones. They quote healing terms. They stay above conflict. But Jung warned that when spirituality becomes a persona, ego hides in robes. They don't want dialogue. They want dominance. Not by shouting, by staying calm while making you feel ungrounded, reactive, or unhealed. They reframe every disagreement as your flaw. They call your boundaries projections. They label your frustration as triggered. You can't confront them. They simply elevate themselves and dismiss you. Their serenity is not peace. It's control. And if you're not rooted, you'll shrink just to stay aligned with them. Let your shoulders drop. Recenter. Because the last mask is the most confusing. The empath who feels everything and eventually makes you responsible for everything. At first it feels like deep connection, until you realize you're living inside their emotional weather. This is the sensitive controller. They sense every shift, every sigh, every tone. They cry easily. They soothe quickly. They seem loving. But slowly you begin to adjust your behavior to protect their feelings. They never have to demand control. Their fragility becomes the leash. Jung warned that not many highly sensitive personas are actually unprocessed chaos projected outward. They need you to regulate them, to tread lightly, to sacrifice truth for calm. And without noticing, you stop expressing yourself entirely. Their storms become your responsibility, and you forget which emotions were yours to begin with, because we're shifting from exposure to awakening. You've seen the masks. Now we ask the deeper question: why do you keep meeting them? Why do they find you? Why do you tolerate them longer than you should? Jung's answer is sharp. You attract what you haven't integrated. If manipulators keep appearing, you're still scared to stand in your truth. If victims cling to you, you're still addicted to being needed. If charm deceives you, you still crave approval. The shadow shapes the doorway, and the masks walk through it. Your shadow is everything you pushed away to survive. The anger you muted, the intuition you ignored, the boundaries you softened, the instinct you abandoned. You became agreeable, peaceful, empathic, but the trade-off was your edge. The part of you that knew how to sense danger before it spoke. Breathe, because what comes next is the turn. Jung didn't want you to become cold. He wanted you to become whole. That means letting your forgotten fire rise again, not to harm, but to protect, to anchor, to choose who gets access to you consciously. Some people aren't changing, they're repeating. They adapt their language but keep their patterns. They mimic growth but avoid responsibility. And unless you value alignment over harmony, You'll keep bending for people who wouldn't bend an inch for you. That's not kindness. That's self-abandonment wrapped in virtue. Here's where you shift. Audit your circle. Who drains you? Who confuses you? Who requires explanations just to treat you well? Conscious people don't need context to honor you. Only unconscious ones do. Walk away quietly. Withdrawal is a form of awakening, not punishment protection. Then let your shadow speak. Let yourself say no. Let yourself question motives. Let yourself take space. Your shadow isn't darkness, it's instinct. It's your spine. It's the part of you that remembers who you are when someone tries to convince you otherwise. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop over-clarifying your boundaries. People who deserve you will feel the line without needing a speech. The rest will call your clarity cruel. Let them. It's not your job to guide unconscious souls through their own fog. And trust what you felt the first time, the hesitation, the contraction, the small flicker in your gut. That wasn't paranoia, that was perception. Your subconscious reads patterns before your mind forms language. Listen to it. It's the inner guide Jung believed was your true shield, because the people who harm you rarely show up looking harmful. They show up with warmth, with stories, with resonance. But time reveals everything, and your job is not to wait for proof. Your job is to honor the first signal, then step back before the cross becomes your identity. Jung never wanted you to fear humanity. He wanted you to trust your own knowing. The deeper you integrate your shadow, the fewer masks can enter your world. You stop bending. You stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for your truth. And without raising your voice, you become untouchable, awake, rooted, whole, the version of you that no manipulator can reach.